Some respect to your junk, huh? Show some respect.
Is there an overlay for this show without the hashtags at the bottom? Not hashtags, the ats at the bottom.
No.
Okay. Yeah, but just use it as a 3 in it. In case Cole wants to go on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out.
Anyway.
Just leave yours up and
Still,
okay, that's fine.
I mean, I can build one if you prefer.
No,
it wouldn't take me but a couple.
I would like you to show me how you build one because I would like to build a different one for Saturday.
Did I click go live or did you?
It was not me.
Huh. Well, we were live for like 40 seconds before I started the countdown timer. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Pay homage to the bird, Lonzo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is a fan upstate. Howdy, y'all. How's everybody? Well, I hope as we hit the midweek edition of the show. So glad to have you guys with us on a beautiful Wednesday upstate morning. My name is Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass from us today, in charge of the broadcast, not just this show, every show that you like anywhere ever, he's in charge of. He, of course, is the great one, Lonzo. I caught a case of the hiccups as we were coming on the air, so it's just excellent timing from yours truly.
Yeah, I'll be administering a breathalyzer during the break. How's everybody doing?
I did not get into the mimosas, AM. That would be a valid reason for a 15-year broadcast professional to catch the hiccups as the show was starting.
Okay, I did see Diesel posted a picture like on his first day of vacation in a robe with one of those.
Yeah, he did.
So he looked like he was enjoying himself, as you should, while on vacation.
Diesel getting into the TVMA version of Twitter, going open chest bathrobe, knocking back mimosas in a birthday hat. There are certain people who would pay $9.99 a month for pictures like that. Diesel?
How do we know they aren't?
That's a valid point. Diesel might rock the world's most covert OnlyFans.
Well, is it covert if you just don't know about it? I mean, if you don't talk about it, is it covert?
Yeah, that's
No. Covert is like you're keeping it secret from everybody.
Well, he would be.
I mean, it's not something that you go out and say, "Hey, Rob, do you have an OnlyFans page?" Because that would be a little creepy if I asked you that, wouldn't it?
I'm just saying, Diesel could have made some cash off that picture.
He still may be making cash off of it. But I'm not going to ask him if he has an OnlyFans page. That's what I'm saying. So it's not covert because he's not advertising it, but no one's asking him if he has one.
I say on Monday when he gets back from vacation, you guys blow up the text line telling him he needs to start an OnlyFans. Don't tell him why. Just blow up the text Monday when Diesel gets back from his birthday week vacation, telling him he needs to start an OnlyFans. And here's the thing I need to see. I want to see if after the first 10 or 12 messages, Diesel goes, maybe I should. Maybe I should start an OnlyFans.
Or
people clearly want it.
Or someone gets jealous and starts their own. Or Diesel just goes block.
Hey, check out this texter. Texter said, Rob, I'm getting married in 3 days. It's from Jacob. Jacob, congratulations, big dog. Good on you, mate.
It's an awesome feeling when you find that soulmate and you're able to spend the rest of your life with them. So have a great time and not too great of a time. I mean, at the reception.
No.
You want to make sure that you know what's going on for later on, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
What do you mean, though? I don't know what you mean.
check out Diesel's OnlyFans page, and you'll know.
Jacob, congratulations, buddy. That's awesome. Happy for you. I'll check the mailbox when I get home. I'll assume my invite is in there. I didn't see it.
You can't do that. You cannot do that. I mean, you can do the wedding crashers thing, but you can't guilt someone into inviting you to their wedding.
The bassist in my band, Tommy, who is now one of my very best friends on planet Earth. I am the godfather to his daughter, Marissa. I love this kid. Got married like 6-8 months before I met him, right? And to this day, Tommy, when we play on the show, when we play gigs, Tommy doesn't have a microphone because he's the bassist, right?
Wait. Bassists can sing. I mean, Gene Simmons, Kip Winger. I mean, I threw those two together, but this is the first two I thought of.
Tommy didn't have a microphone. And my favorite thing to do is rag on Tommy during gigs for not inviting his best friend to his wedding. Granted, I didn't know when it happened.
So you going to get him Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I do it every show. Every show, we inevitably have somebody come up and go, hey, we just got engaged. We just got married. I'm here on a bachelor or bachelorette party. And I'll be like, oh, that's awesome. Will you invite me to your wedding? Because my best friend didn't. That gag's been running for 15 years, and it's still funny. Texter said, Rob, this reminds me, have you set a date yet? No. So far, we think we've got it narrowed down to 2024.
Well, that's a start.
Yeah.
I mean, we're halfway to 2024.
I will say this, and I am very proud of this, okay? This past Sunday, we went up to the Lady Friends La Familia's place out in Pelzer.
It's Pelzer.
That's what they tell me, too.
Yeah.
They get mad when I call it Pelzer.
So you should continue to call it Pelzer. Although you don't want to make the Pelzer people mad, because when Mark Ryan first came here, me and Fat Boy didn't know what I was doing. I was telling Mark he needed to visit Pelzer, and Fat Boy came in, was on the show, and I was doing it, and he just went with it because he's a professional, and we had him convinced to go to Pelzer. I don't know if he ever did, but
well,
so it's not a horrible place during the day.
So we're up in Pelzer this weekend
on
Sunday. And, the whole Lady Friends family, the extended family is there. We're all hanging out. We went up there to watch the NASCAR All-Star race. We were having a little pizza, just kind of hanging out, shooting the boat. You know how it goes. And the stepmama, because this is the first time we've seen him since we got engaged. We haven't seen him since we got engaged.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's been a little bit of time.
A month
there.
And a half.
Yeah, I mean, it's busy, I guess.
Very. So the stepmama says, have you guys picked a date yet? And she said, no, not yet. We're kind of narrowing it down. And she said, well, what do you have it narrowed down to? And I, like I just did as a joke, said 2024, like some point in 2024. And she looks and she goes, well, we can't do it in the fall. And I went, finish that thought. She said, we can't do it in the fall. Stepmom said, why can't you do it in the fall? The fall is beautiful. Why can't you do it in the fall? And she said, we can't do it during college football season. And the stepmom was like, why? Why? This seems like it's bigger than football. And she said, yeah, but like, the odds that we find a weekend that both of our teams are on the bye at the same time is going to be tough. And in the future, if our anniversary falls on a day where South Carolina or Rob's favorite school have a big game that day, then we either have to miss a big game for the anniversary, or one of us has to be the bad guy and go, yeah, I know there's this big contest that's a once-in-a-lifetime matchup, but it's our anniversary, so we got to do that instead, and neither of us wants to be that bad guy.
So I know the listeners picked up on this too, so that means you're going to be married in the summer of 2024 or the spring.
It's looking spring. Here's what we've got.
Because you've eliminated like
most of
the second half of the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's what we have it down to. Not in the winter. So January's out, February's out. March is out, except for like the first week. It could be like the first weekend in March, right? It's the end of football season, but we're not into March Madness or the tournament slates yet. Because I told her the other thing you have to think about here is you got to think about this career. Yeah, I could get fired literally now, but if I do my job well, hopefully I'll be doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, the day is young for both of us.
Correct.
So, I mean,
it's early.
You know, stop by after the show could happen.
I said you got to think about it this way. If we get hitched during conference tournaments or March Madness, and then one day I get the call, hey, Rob, we want you to come up to wherever. Want you to come up to CBS Sports Network and be a studio analyst. We're going to bring you up to Chicago, put you on TV every day, or put you on a nationally syndicated radio program and trot you out to talk basketball. I don't think we want to be in a spot where we're missing anniversaries because I got to work. She said, all right, well, then we'll take March off. What about April? And I said, second weekend. So we got it narrowed down to, Lonzo, between the second weekend in April and the weekend before Labor Day. That's a wide swath of options there.
I was going to say, what's wrong with July? I mean, there ain't nothing going on in July other than July 4th.
Complains about it's so high.
And June also. I mean, you know, mid-June, early June.
Yeah.
I mean, think of what the weather we're having now. It's going to be June next week.
Yeah. So
this time next year, we could be a week away from your wedding.
To the texter that asked, and to the nobody else that cares, I just wanted to tell that story to point out how damn proud I was that the lady friend told stepmom when she said, it's just football. When she said, yeah, no. Because even if we found a date where our two schools both had the bye, right? Everybody else that we would invite aren't necessarily fans of our schools. What happens if Courtney and Rob set a day that their two schools are on the bye, we invite the great one and the Reitzel fam, and Ohio State ends up playing Penn State on that day? Lonzo doesn't want to miss Ohio State, Penn State with a ticket to the playoff on the line.
Yeah, but I would for you, Rob.
I know you would, but I don't want to ask you to do that.
I got a phone. I got an iPad. I'm not saying I'll pay attention to the wedding, but I'd be there.
I will physically be there.
Yeah.
What happens if on that day Rob invites La Familia and LSU ends up catching Auburn? Now let's pick a more realistic thing. Sorry, Keegan. What if LSU picks up a matchup against Bama on that day with a ticket to the SEC championship and therefore a playoff berth on the line? You think my LSU family is going to be thrilled getting asked to miss LSU Alabama to go to? No, they're not. And while everybody's going to be the nice guy and go, of course I would miss that for you, Rob, it's just football. I'd be there for a wedding if it's just football. I will be the bad guy. If your school catches a big game, you don't want to miss it for a wedding. And on top of that, I know my friends and family, as Lonzo just admitted publicly, and I respect the hell out of them for doing it. They might be there, but they are all going to be finding creative ways to hide their cell phone so they can watch the game from the aisle while you're getting hitched, in which case they might as well not even be there, right? So no, fall weddings are bad. You are asking your friends to give up one of a very limited number of football weekends. By the way, I just thought of how I can do it. You know the wrist things that the quarterbacks wear. Wouldn't a phone fit perfectly right in there? It would, but then you got your Oh no! You got it down like this. You know what the play is. The play is, and obviously you got to have a partner who's good with this. I suspect, and I could be wrong about this. if you're at my wedding and you're watching OSU Penn State on the phone, is Miss Lisa not going to throw you a jab or two in the elbow, or is she going to be leaning over to watch?
She is, but I have this thing that you also have and a couple other people at the station have. I'm also working.
It's my job, babe.
Yes, I'm also working.
It just happens to be my team, but I am working.
I'm working, yes.
The lady friend told me the other day, we were talking about the, because you guys, for those of you that follow the show, you know that I'm the in-arena hype guy for the Swamp Rabbits. I've picked that up part-time as the backup for the same role with the Drive. I do stuff with the Triumph all the time. And she's like, well, because I told her, I don't remember what event we were talking about, but I'm like, I have to work. And she's like, you're at a baseball game. I'm like, right, but it's still work. She's like, are you really working at an event that you want to be at? Yeah, still work. It's still work. Well, guess what? Our job is still a game.
I want to be here where we are right now. I'm having fun, but it's work. It's also work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still work.
So to circle back around, let me just say this. Hashtag end fall weddings. They're needless. They're selfish. You're asking people to be somewhere that they might be okay. Like they might be excited to be there. But the overwhelming majority of us, for 13 Saturdays, 13 out of 52 Saturdays, 13 of them, we want to be on the couch in front of the big screen watching our team play. End fall weddings. No, Cassandra, I'm sorry. Your big day is not a big day to me. Throw it in April, throw a rager of a reception, and now I want to be there. You put that thing on in May and then throw an open bar reception, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than there. But if you do it in November and there's conference football taking place, I want to be on my couch watching football. Always have been, always will be. Hashtag end fall weddings.
So to bring this all full circle was Jacob, right?
Yes.
It was Jacob. Congratulations. You picked a good weekend.
Yeah, you did, Jacob. You picked a great weekend. Memorial Day weekend. Everybody gets a couple of extra days off to recover. If you throw an absolute banger of a reception, nobody feels like I better take it easy. Because even though I got Sunday to rest, I need to be right by Monday. Nope, you got Monday to rest up too. You picked a banger of a weekend, all right? A banger of a weekend. For those of you that are hitting us with, well, Rob, your team's, okay, your anniversary is going to fall on a big game, on a once-in-a-lifetime. In fact, as a matter of fact, I got to take a break. I was scrolling Reddit the other day. And there was a guy in the college football thread who was complaining because his school, and I can't remember what school he's a fan of, but his school has a game at Arizona State this year. And Arizona State is known for being a party school. It's known for being a place that away teams can go and have the time of their lives. And he's like, my wife's mad at me because it falls on our anniversary. And I booked tickets to go to this game. My wife's not a college football fan, and she's like, oh, so you're picking college football over me. And I was like, dude, if you would have asked me before you got hitched, I could have told you, don't do it in the fall because this is inevitable. You're going to end up having your team playing an away game at a destination you've always wanted to go to, and you can't go because mama won't be happy because mama wants that anniversary dinner. She wants to celebrate with you. And the only out there is to skip the game of your life to make sure that she knows that college football is not a priority more important than she is. And it's not. And it shouldn't be. But it doesn't mean it's not a priority. Doesn't mean it's not something you want to do. So you're either giving that up for the rest of your life to celebrate anniversaries, or you just get married in May and you don't worry about it ever, 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 ever ever. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a busy show. Coming up in just a tick under an hour from right now, the mayor of Sparkle City is going to join us. Jerome Rice is the guy in charge of the Burg right now. Jerome Rice is going to join us here on the show to talk about the news that broke yesterday. Major League Baseball is placing a foothold in Spartanburg, South Carolina, when Spartanburg gets pro baseball back in 2025. So we'll ask Mayor Rice how this deal came together, what it means, what the development looks like, when we can expect a name and a logo, and when we can expect hardball to start being played in Sparkle City. That's coming up in just under an hour. Also on today's show, Carmelo Anthony called it a career. Carmelo was a 10-time All-Star, but did he cross the line from good into great? And a very popular sports talk radio show saw a host call a listener live on the air to demand that listener pay off a bet. Fair or foul? We're going to talk about all of that and more. The Rob Brown Show is busy today, y'all. So jump on board now. The GilstratFamilyDealerships.com phone line is open at 844-326-3663. You can also text us on the radio broadcast at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. We're back after this. Rob Lonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. They are having an interesting conversation over on WORD right now. They're talking about extramarital affairs, and people are telling their stories about how they almost did, how they did.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's drama, baby. We all love drama.
We do.
We love some drama. 30 seconds, guys.
Your home and car. Do you have it set up where you only see our stuff?
Sir?
Next line. Don't you have it set up where you only see our stuff?
Only if people text fan, but even then I have to go back out to the main screen because if they text fan, but it gets split into two messages.
Yeah, okay. All
I
right.
only get half of it.
Yeah.
And our texters are not
Well, they don't know how long it.
for words.
Well, you don't know how long it. I'm not sure how many lines it takes before it splits up. Is it consistent? I don't know.
Wow. Forever. My dear sweet mother did not find the humor in my No Fall Weddings wedding take. I was deadly serious about it.
Don't you hate when you feel thinner and you've lost a good amount of weight way too quick, and then you see yourself on screen and realize that no one else could tell? Oh no, it's I trust me, I can tell, but fingers crossed, tomorrow I get back on the treadmill, but I can't take a risk of doing it knowing that I may have to pull another 11. We love all our avenues of being able to interact with the listeners. It's awesome.
Blue background?
Yeah, I don't know.
Same as it always is, right?
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Look where my hand was. Same as it ever was. It's actually a line in that song. I don't know what that part means, but you know. That's the other show.
Text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Texter just wrote in and said, Rob, don't be like me. My birthday, Valentine's Day, and our anniversary are all during the same week. I mean, there's not much you can do about your birthday unless I have just been misled.
It's a week-long celebration. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, on the surface, that doesn't seem so bad, right? It would be worse if it was her birthday, Valentine's Day, and the anniversary. But let me say this real quick, and then we're gonna get to a couple of other spots. Okay? Let me say this real quick. And I'm gonna say this. This was equal opportunity for the ladies out there. Ladies, why is it the way that the fellas are the only ones expected to have anniversary responsibilities? Why is it that anniversaries traditionally are all about the fella glorifying the lady? Isn't it supposed to be about us? Isn't it supposed to be an us thing? A celebration of our relationship, a celebration of our happiness together. Why is it always all on the dudes? Or is it not? Fellas, are some of you fellas out there, did you luck into a spot where you ended up with a lady who does stuff for you for the anniversary too? And I'm not talking about that sweet loving. I'm talking about like the dinners and the romance and all that. This is not a one-way street. It could be worse. Could be her birthday, Valentine's Day, and her anniversary.
If you're expecting me to comment, my wife was on here earlier. I'm treading lightly. I'm sure I already said something that's going to get me in trouble. That's fair. I mean, you know.
See, that's what I get. Like Valentine's Day has become a day to glorify the women in the relationship.
It's a Hallmark holiday, and
you should dote on each other.
You know who gets mad when you say that? Women get mad when you say it's a Hallmark holiday. It's a made-up holiday. I mean, do you even know who Saint Valentine is?
I do. He did that massacre.
No, I know you. No, he wasn't the one. That it happened on that day. Yeah.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this, ladies. We like a little love and affection too. All right. Most dudes aren't gonna tell you that. Most dudes got too much masculine in them to admit it. I will say it on our behalf. We like a little love and affection too, all right? It's a two-way street. All right, let's get to some stuff here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you. Let me start with this one. You can rest easy, Lonzo. You can take a deep breath. It's all been figured out. We're fine now. The federal government is getting involved in the NIL discussion. Everything's going to be A-okay.
So they want some of that money too.
Jackpot.
Yes.
According to Dennis Dodd, writing for CBSSports.com, A discussion draft of a bill that would establish a federal regulatory NIL body was revealed Tuesday by Representative Gus Bellerakis of Florida, a Republican, exclusively to CBS Sports. It is titled The Fairness, Accountability, and Integrity in Representation of College Sports Act, or, for those of you who love a good acronym, the Fair College Sports Act. It would preempt all existing and future state NIL laws, a limitation currently being sought for Congress to address by the NCAA. Bellerakis is a member of the House of Representatives Energy and Commerce Committee, and in that role, he is chairman of the Subcommittee on Innovation, Data, and Commerce, which has already conducted 2 NIL hearings. A discussion draft is considered the next public step in the legislative process, and beyond creating a federal regulatory body to address NIL, the suggested legislation would do 3 primary things. Number 1, protect athletes' rights to earn NIL compensation and sign with agents. The NCAA allows for a limited scope of NIL benefits and currently allows athletes to have agents for NIL marketing purposes only. It would ban pay-for-play by prohibiting boosters, collectives, and other third parties from, quote, offering inducements to attend or transfer, end quote, to specific institutions.
Wait. That's what NIL is.
Oh, hold tight. I'm coming to it.
Yeah, okay.
And third, it would require registration within 30 days for agents, boosters, and collectives when NIL deals are signed. Now, the legislation does not address health and medical benefits for athletes as contained in other proposed congressional bills, nor would it address athletes' potential employee status, nor establish liability protections for schools or the NCAA itself. House sources say such protections would be out of the body's jurisdiction at the moment. The regulatory body, if established, would be named the U.S. Intercollegiate Athletics Commission and would be charged with overseeing NIL, including setting rules, enforcing those rules, and providing guidance to athletes and collectives on the NIL process. The draft goes further to define what a booster is under the current legislation. A commission board of directors would be appointed by congressional leaders. The board would be made up of student athletes in various conference and NCAA division leaders, and a chairman would be elected by a majority of the board. But the big thing that is being discussed here is the fact that they are effectively creating a clearinghouse for NIL deals, though it would not be allowed to, quote, fix student athlete compensation, end quote. So they can't set limits on what players can earn, just how they can learn it. So let's go back to what you said a minute ago. Point number 2 is that this committee would, quote, or this legislation would, quote, ban pay-for-play by prohibiting boosters, collectives, and other third parties from offering inducements to attend or transfer to specific institutions, end quote.
It's redundant because that's what they're doing. Kids now can go, okay, I'm going to make more money if I go over here. That's exactly what NIL does. So I'm confused. I really am. It has to do with government, so it's not surprising. Come on.
So here is kind of my gut takeaway from the whole thing.
They're just trying to find out, how do we get taxes from this? And if it's a big deal, we make more taxes. So yeah, that doesn't look like they're trying to induce or try to entice a kid to come here. It seems up and up to me. Where's my money?
Here's how it looks to me. And again, this is a knee-jerk reaction. I'm going to start with the concept of, quote, ban pay-for-play by prohibiting boosters, collectives, and other third parties from offering inducements to attend or transfer to specific institutions. You have to clarify that for me. You have to tell me what that means, right? Now, Does that mean that, and I'm not saying that they are doing this, I'm just using them as, I'm not even going to use a specific collective. Let's just say a collective at a major institution was to work out a deal with, let's say, a major athletic equipment line, right? Under Armour, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, whatever. And they were to work out a deal where Adidas says, we will sign every athlete at this school to a $10,000 a year NIL deal. Everybody who signs the dotted line gets a $10K deal out of the gate that is good for as long as they remain an athlete at this school. Is that an inducement? Right? Because you're not. Here's
how is it not?
Here's where I'm gonna argue.
I know if I go there, even if I'm on the bench, I'm getting $10,000.
I am not reaching out to any particular athlete and going, hey, if you, 5-star quarterback, come play for this school, you specifically are going to get this deal. This is just a feature of playing here.
So this is a way around what they're trying to regulate. So what if you say not everybody, but anybody in the quarterback room gets that?
Again, if I'm not offering it to any specific player, is that an inducement to get players to come here? Right?
It still is. I mean,
common sense is.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Of course. Common sense is, of course it is.
If I know I'm going to school and I'm probably not going to start, but I can go there and make $10,000, I'm going where I can make $10,000.
Sure. But again, the point that this kind of brought me to is, if you want this to be a good idea, this thing really needs to be brought to the table with a lot more fine print to it.
Well, my complaint all along was lack of regulation. I don't know how maybe it's the first step towards regulating it. And I don't know how you could actually do that in the first place. So the fact that they're attempting it, I guess, is a good thing. I would think they probably have some other stuff that they probably should take care of, but maybe they can do a couple things at once. That's fine.
So let me tell you where this stems from. This stems from the fact that when NIL came into play, the NCAA just decided to sit it out. It was treacherous territory. They felt fear of backlash. Hey, if we overstep our boundaries, the public at large is going to come after us. So we're just going to leave it up to the states, right? And that created a pretty crap situation because some states that are a little bit more liberal, and I'm using this in the literal term of liberal, not like liberal like the Democrats versus the Republicans. But
you mean loose with their money?
Sure.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out.
I'm saying if some states looked at the very limited regulation that the NCAA had and said, yeah, we don't really care what our schools do, right? Like, we don't care. Hand out as much cash as you've got on hand to hand out. And some states went, yeah, we don't want athletes making money. We don't think this should be a paid protected class. So we're going to go ahead and just squash this whole thing. And what it's led to is disparity across the NCAA NIL landscape that is offering advantages to some state institutions that is putting a damper on other states' ability to pull recruits from those cats. So the NCAA, by doing nothing out of the gate and letting it go so far that they don't really have any power now, right? Because anything the NCAA does now that would limit what they're doing in, let's say, Florida, a state that pretty much lets NIL do whatever NIL is going to do. If they try to put any form of NCAA rules into play that would pull back Florida's competitive advantage that they've earned via their NIL landscape being pretty much wide open, Florida's going to challenge that in the court. And frankly, they're probably going to win. Which means the NCAA looks weak again. Looks weaker than they already did. So now the NCAA had only one course of action, which is go to Congress and ask for federal legislation to limit all of this, except for the feds, A, have no idea what they're doing. They got a bunch of not experts who sit up on Capitol Hill and decide, yeah, this is what's best for us. This is how we think it's going to go. But more importantly, they're going to be the ones that are setting the disciplinary actions here. And from what I just read you with the three main parts of this proposed legislation / created committee, they don't know. They don't know what any of that's going to look like. They offered you the concept ban pay for play by prohibiting boosters, collectives, and other third parties from offering inducements to attend or transfer. What does that mean? Does that mean that if I am, say, Florida State, and I've got a deal with Nike, and I work a deal with Nike where every player on the football, basketball, softball team, everybody who signs a Scully to play for the Noles gets a $10K check every year for doing so? Am I not allowed to do that now? That doesn't seem like I'm offering anybody, hey, I'm not calling Oregon's shortstop on the softball team because there's a hole in the 6th spot in the lineup going into the regionals and going, hey, $10K from Nike if you come down here and play in Tallahassee. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying a feature of our program is a $10K check for being here. I'm not trying to induce anybody to come here. I'm just saying that's something we offer. That's a benefit. I'm just offering that.
So here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the people who they put in charge over this wagging their finger saying don't do that with their right hand while their left hand is palm reached out taking some money. That's what I see. And maybe I'm just cynical and maybe it's my other job, skewing how I think about things, but they didn't really say anything that they're going to do.
You know what the worst thing in government is, in my opinion? The worst thing in Washington, D.C. is lobbying. Lobbying is the worst thing in D.C. I think lobbyists should be done away with.
Right, because you're basically being paid off. That's what a lobbyist is.
I think that lobbyists should not be allowed. And I think that donations from corporations should not be allowed. Okay? Why? Because I think the only people the federal representatives should be obligated to is their constituents, their voters. And every time a major company or a PAC comes together and puts money into the pocket of a politician, they're not being honest with their constituents anymore. And that is every single person in D.C. You can't win in D.C. without playing that game, right? So the problem I have here is that you are going to, in both directions, now that the feds are involved, have people stepping up and calling Representative X and going, hey, look, my school's getting killed in recruiting right now because our cross-state rivals worked out a deal with so-and-so and all their kids are getting NIL money and my school just won't put it together. So I kind of need NIL to go away. Or if you could just limit it, like this is where they're getting their money from. So maybe if you just wrote some legislation within the NIL committee that says they can't do that anymore, we could catch up. And oh, by the way,
followed by, yeah, we got box seats for you.
Yeah.
The entire season. You just come on out and hang.
On top of that, Lonzo, you think there might be a handful of Congress people up on Capitol Hill that are, I don't know, college football fans, graduates of a particular school that they would love to see be a little bit more competitive, but just can't keep up with the other big state schools that are offering a more lucrative NIL scene, that they could go, XYZ University might be able to catch up with XYZ State if XYZ State's NIL abilities were hampered just a little bit.
You are speaking of corruption and money influencing things, and I'm just appalled. I can't believe.
Not in the greatest country on earth, dang it. Hell no, that don't happen around here.
Well, that happens in every country, I'm sure.
Point here is, The Fed's getting involved to help exactly nobody. And at the end of the day, this is going to be an effort to do what? Try to kill off NIL. And then what happens? We go right back to the underground $500 handshakes, and everybody's worse off.
See, I just think it's the opposite. I think this is government getting involved to get some of the money. That's all I think.
Maybe they are. Maybe they are. We'll see. But it's a joke. It's a joke. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Wrap up hour number 1. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's at the controls. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Look at that. We reached across the aisle and we agreed that it is corrupt.
Everybody, all my homies think the government's bad.
Yes, they do, James. They do care about you.
Every representative is corrupt except my representative. Yeah, welcome to American government, baby. My guy's not the bad guy.
I know. I've met some really good guys, but still, I mean,
yeah, politicians definitely don't put on pretty faces.
I think when you talk, how you talk to the least in a company, which would be me, says a lot about you as a politician. And I've had some talk down to me and treat me like trash, and I've had others going, "Hey, Lonzo, how you doing?" Yeah.
You should live your life to the fullest. You hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, it's Rob Brown. QC Kinetics is in the business of giving people back their quality of life and providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain, but not just providing that relief, it's doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. Where's your joint pain? Is it in your knees, hips, shoulders, your back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates the...
I just found out that I don't have to work 11 hours again today. Pretty happy about that.
You walk into the office and right out after treatment, no surgery, no downtime, and patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally being able to play golf, hike, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, whatever it is, don't wait one more day. Get started today with a call to QC Kinetics.
Just because I want to go home and go to sleep, because I'm still not completely recovered. I'm working my way back though, baby, to wherever it was before, I guess.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage, egg croissant, plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose-wise. Choose Wendy's $3.
Some like it hot and some...
Is that on in the restroom, or you just popped it in?
Feel the heat. No, I was out of my car when I started it this morning.
Do you know who plays that?
Nope.
You don't know who plays it?
I actually don't.
It was a band called The Power Station, which was a couple members of Duran Duran, Robert Palmer, and I think the drummer was from Chic. Maybe?
Really?
I think, yeah. It was a weird pairing. It was a guitarist from Duran Duran and I think the bass player. And it's just a weird pairing with Robert Palmer.
I want to say I knew it was Robert Palmer that sang it.
Yeah. Duran Duran had like a lot of good guitarists. They have a style that if you hear them on something else, you know it's them, like Eddie Van Halen or someone like that. You just know it's them. And now I can stand proud as a Duran Duran fan because they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whatever that means. But still, had to hide that as a teenager. Got made fun of when people knew. No, it wasn't one of those weirdos that tried to dress like somebody. Which is fine when you're cosplaying. It's not so good when you're doing it in high school and. Hey, are you singing AC/DC this weekend?
I will be.
I was just wondering if you're going to have a voice Tuesday. That's all.
I should be good. Our last gig's Saturday night, so I should be good by Tuesday. Fingers crossed, yeah. Guess we'll find out.
What's the AC/DC song of choice?
We will probably do Highway to Hell. You got to do You Shook Me All Night Long, right? That's an 80s bar classic. You got to do that one. We'll probably do. We haven't broken out Dirty Deeds in a while.
I'm thinking you probably get into that one pretty good. I mean, so when you sing, do you also play?
Not AC/DC.
Okay, I was just curious.
No, that my lead. When we started it, I did, but we got to a point where my lead singer was just standing on stage, not really doing anything. And so we all know lead singers, right? They can't not be doing something.
Well, yeah.
So like 10, 12 shows into doing AC/DC, he was like, dude, give me your guitar, bro. I was like, why? This is my chance to front a band. How many people you know get to front a band? 3? You know 3 people who have ever fronted a band. This is my chance. I get 2 songs a night. I get 2 songs. I get an AC/DC tune.
I fronted a band, so I mean, you know.
Yeah, we're 2 of the 3 these people know.
Okay.
I get 2 songs a night to front the band. 1 AC/DC tune and 1 Garth Brooks tune. Those are my 2 times a night I get to front a band. And now you're going to take one of them from me. Why? Here's a perfectly good egg shaker, man. Just stand over the corner and bang the tambourine for a minute, my guy. Let me front a band.
Or go take a break. It's a long set.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, let some other people shine.
Go grab a JMO from the bar and let me have 3 minutes to front a band. The band experience at some point ends for everybody. And let's be real, though. Most of us don't know when our last show is our last show.
That's very true. Things can break up pretty quick.
Yeah. I heard somebody say once, and something that bent my brain. They said, as a parent, there's a day where you pick up your child for the last time. And you never know when that is. You don't know when it's unless you raise a real fat kid, you never know when the last time you picked up your kid is going to be. So you should savor it every time. It's like that. But more important is you never know when the last time you're going to front your band is. I don't know if this weekend's our last show or not. And you are taking my 3 minutes from me?
Come on.
Man.
Come on. You don't care that much.
I do.
Do you?
I do. Lonzo, I'm a performer at heart.
Yeah, but it's harder to sing and play at the same time.
Yeah, I know, which is why when you do it, you're like, damn it, I'm good. I'm important for the 2 minutes and 45 seconds that I'm playing and singing. This is my time. Don't take it from me. You get the other 3 hours and 30 minutes, front man.
See, I always thought, man, everybody makes me sound okay. Way to go. I love these guys.
Here's my last question about the NIL thing, right? You have created a situation, and I'm not saying it's not still happening, though it would be dumb if it does. You have finally stumbled into a situation where athletes can benefit, where schools can benefit. Nobody has to do anything under the table. And if this thing gets carried away and you start having Congress people get involved in this, who for whatever reason don't like NIL, and they drive everything that's been pushed forward back underground. We're going right back to the bag man. We're going right back to what led us here in the first place. I don't see how this is going to go. I'm going to say this, though, Zoe. This is DOA. You want to know why this is DOA? Because there are people with very deep pockets that come from very wealthy schools who aren't going to want this passed. Phil Knight doesn't want this passed. You think Phil Knight won't throw a few million at Congress to keep it from passing? That's why it's not going to happen. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Don't put that in his head, Trey. I don't want to have to pay to watch.
Starting a site called Only Bands. Ha ha! Nailed it. Subscribe to my Only Bands.
Yeah, it was called MySpace. They used to have that. That's what Only Bands was. Actually, there was something that we were part of. I can't remember what it was called. That a bunch of bands were on it. Actually got some gigs from it too, and I cannot remember what it was called.
That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger
All right,
than
delete already. I mean, you know, I pushed the button.
Where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night?
It's an online tip jar. That's a way to look at it, Trey.
No,
for sure.
So we have I have seen and we have started a lot of bands now will put their tip jar up front and they'll generate a QR code that takes you to their Venmo page to do digital tips. The last gig I played with the boys, we did, like, we'll usually get on a real good night.
Is that Freight Yard? That's a pretty good way to spell it. Okay.
On a real good night in cash, we'll get $400 to $500 in tips.
Oh, that's cool.
On an average night, $200 to $300. On a bad night, $100 to $150, somewhere in that range. The last show I played, which was, golly, middle of last year. It's been almost a year now. Last show we played, we generated a QR code that led to our Venmo, and we got like $400 in tips through Venmo because so many people don't carry cash anymore. And so if you give people the opportunity to drop $10 on you via Venmo, they'll do it. And especially at 2 a.m. after they've knocked back a handful of Jack and Diets, we had one guy tipped us like $300 one time. He was like, I've been here all 4 hours. I had the time of my life.
Oh, that's cool though.
But I'll tell you real quick before we come back for break, I'll tell you the favorite game I ever played. I made us $1,300 in tips one night. Which is dramatically more than the band gets paid per gig. We play Sweet Home Alabama. That is another song that I actually front the band for, right? I play and sing that. And we had a guy standing in the front who was wearing a Alabama hat. And he tipped us $100. And I had another guy come up and he goes, I will give you $150 to stop playing this song. So we're like, done. We just stopped the song. Okay, we're done. $150. We're done. The Bama guy comes up and gives us $200 to restart the song from the beginning. We restarted the song from the beginning. The first guy comes up, gives us $250 to stop the song 30 seconds into it. We stopped the song again. This went back and forth until an LSU guy came up and goes, I will give you $200 to just move to the next song and stop this. And I went, okay. But we were mid-song. So I changed it to Sweet Home Baton Rouge. And I on the spot, made up a verse about living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Then I had an Auburn guy came up and give me like $200 to sing it about Auburn. He thought I had written the verse about Baton Rouge. So on the spot, I made up a song, Sweet Home Opelika, and sang about Auburn. we ended up with over $1,300 between 4 guys giving us hundreds of dollars at a time to, instead of singing Sweet Home Alabama, sing Sweet Home Tuscaloosa, Opelika, Baton Rouge, or what was the last one? Tallahassee, Florida State guy. It was the most money we've ever made in one night, and we did the overwhelming majority of it with Leonard Skinner. It was stupid.
Sounds like an awesome night.
It was incredible.
Yeah. So when you say Neil Young, do you say "screw you, Neil Young," or I mean, did you do it with Venom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just curious.
Because a Southern man don't need you around anyhow.
And I think my MySpace profile song in the background was one of my own. I don't know. What was yours? Do you remember?
Speaking of Brandon, I better see you this weekend, you punk ass. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our número dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome in, y'all. I am Rob. The great one, Lonzo, is on the other side of the metaphorical glass, in charge of the broadcast today. You're welcome to be a part of the show. Shoot us a text at 71307. 71307. Start that text with the word fan, F-A-N, fan, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You can also give us a buzz on the GilstratFamilyDealerships.com phone line at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. Jump on the air. Chat with us if you want to. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show and at Lonzo One Word. And while you're on that digital device of choice, do us a favor. Grab the Odyssey app, A-U-D-A-C-Y. Grab the Odyssey app, A-U-D-A-C-Y, and search the Fan Upstate. Click the little heart icon and make us a favorite. You're going to get a few things out of that. Number one, you are going to have direct access to the shows. Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. The Rob Brown Show with Rob and Lonzo. You are going to get access to all of our podcasts. Every day, Lonzo takes all 3 hours of the show, slices, dices, and cuts them up, puts them up on the website so that you can listen to the show on demand.
First hour's up just now.
Yes, it is.
So it's like 2 minutes after the top of the hour, and you got it. It's right there.
Yes, indeed. All 3 hours on demand, commercial free for the most part. You go there, you download them, you listen to them at your leisure. So make sure you grab the Odyssey app, A-U-D-A-C-Y, and check that out. All right, I want to, coming up here in about 13 minutes, we're going to be joined by Mayor Jerome Rice. He is the mayor of Spartanburg, South Carolina. It was announced yesterday that Major League Baseball will be returning. The Lower A Carolinas League will host the new team in the Burg. They will play the Columbia Fireflies, the Charleston River Dogs, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, etc., etc., etc. And it should be fun. Good to have big-time baseball back. They will be a Texas Rangers affiliate. And on top of that, a $250 million project going in to install a 3,500-seat baseball stadium with luxury boxes on a 16-acre development that will also see an entertainment district, multifamily housing, an office complex, etc. So we'll talk to Mayor Jerome Rice about that coming up in the next segment of the broadcast. But before we get there, let's go here. Let me go, Zoe, to a little bit of sound here. I am going to let's go to clip number 3. Let's knock this out real quick. I know we aren't exactly in an NBA hotbed around here, but it is the National Basketball Association, and there is some interest. The Charlotte Hornets get the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. There's a big conversation about whether they should go with Brandon Miller, the young man out of Alabama. You remember the controversy surrounding him from a couple of months ago. Should they go with Scoot at number 2? He's a point guard. You already got a point guard on the team in LaMelo Ball. Do you run a 2-point guard system? Do you trade that pick back, maybe pick up a little bit more and try to get another player deeper while stockpiling some resources? So a lot of conversation there, and you guys have asked the question. So there is some NBA interest in the hood. Chuck Barkley last night on Inside the NBA on TNT. After the Boston Celtics, Lonzo found a little fight last night. Scrapped in Miami.
Someone's prediction of a sweep was wrong.
Yes, it was. We'll come back to that in a minute. Beantown gets the dub over Miami. This one's going back to TD Waterhouse, Boston Garden. After that game was over, I flipped it over, as I do nightly, to Inside the NBA on TNT, which I think is the best sports studio show running right now. And Chuck Barkley had a complaint. The Nuggets swept the Lakers. And everybody, I'm including myself in this, woke up yesterday after the sweep was over, and we all talked about what? LeBron James. Chuck was not thrilled about that.
Because the Denver Nuggets have been the best basketball team in the world all season. Sweep, get to the finals for the first time. Now, you know Mike Malone, I love him, but he's whiny. But he does have a point.
No, he has a great point.
He has a great point.
A great point.
I mean, I was like, and I love Mike Malone. I cannot wait.
Michael Malone. If you really love him, call him Michael.
Okay. Michael Malone.
Chuck has a very valid point, as does Michael Malone. Yes, he does ask to be called Michael. Head coach of the Denver Nuggets, Michael Malone, said, hey, yo, can we talk about, I don't know, us, the team that, did the sweep, not the team that did the swept? Can we do that? Chuck brought up a very valid point. He said, yo, look, everybody woke up the next day. We wanted to talk about LeBron. But I would like to make a distinction here. The conversation yesterday morning, Zoe, correct me if I'm wrong, focused on LeBron, not the Lakers. I mean, yeah, we talked about Anthony Davis disappearing. Jim Rome yesterday called him Anthony Every Other Davis, which is a great nickname based on his playoff performance. Talked about AD disappearing. We talked about how Schroeder was useless in the last game. We talked a lot about the Lakers, but we talked about it through the prism of what? You cannot ask 38-year-old LeBron to go out there, get you 40, 30 in the last half, throw double-digit assists, get you a double-double, be a couple of boards away from a triple-double, and not give him some level of support. Everything was filtered through the lens of LeBron James. So Chuck's right. But I am going to disagree with Chuck on saying that it was the wrong time to talk about it. It was not. It was not. If this was Carmelo Anthony, then yeah, the conversation needs to be on the Denver Nuggets. But it is not. This is a conversation about the only guy who has ever threatened Michael Jordan in the GOAT conversation. This is a conversation about a guy that I very much consider to be the most culturally important basketball player of all time. Mike brought a bunch of new fans to the league. I'm one of them. I don't really honestly recall the NBA before Michael Jordan. Everything before Michael, for me, has been viewed through YouTube clips. LeBron James did for the world what Mike did for the United States. LeBron, over the past 20 years, has brought the NBA to the world. He is the most globally, culturally important basketball player of all time, and he got done getting swept, and he went to the mic, and he said, this might be it for me. I got a lot to think about. No, I don't think he's done, right? Because I think LeBron, as an image guy and a moneymaker, LeBron knows a farewell tour for LeBron is going to be worth tens of millions of dollars personally, right? If LeBron runs it back, if next year Bron comes out, Lonzo, and he says one more season, I'm giving this one more go. The Lakers build around him, and he says one more season, one more go. And the Lakers play in Charlotte next year, you think you and I are going to try to get our hands in a ticket to go watch the farewell tour of LeBron?
Absolutely. And
Yes.
and on top of that, all the advertisers will do, I mean, like Nike will come out with his farewell shoe.
Oh, the commercials are going to be obnoxious.
They will be.
The thank you chosen one commercials are going to be obnoxious. I will even get over them. There's going to be a LeBron farewell shoe. There's going to be a LeBron farewell jersey. There's going to be a LeBron farewell shirt and cap and lunchbox. It's going to be like Spaceballs. It's going to be LeBron the everything. There's too much money for him to walk away. There's too much money for him to say goodbye without a farewell tour, I think. But to say that the conversation needed, y'all, I got news. The conversation's going to be on the Denver Nuggets for 2 more weeks. Do you know why? Because they're in the NBA Finals. We're going to be talking about them for 2 more weeks at the minimum. How much time we got for LeBron during the NBA Finals? Unless it's forced, not really that much. Unless it's forced, which it will be for some people because all they got is LeBron's overrated. LeBron failed. That's the only talking point you got. We're going to be talking Nuggets for 2 more weeks, minimum. Probably 3 because I think they are your eventual NBA champions. We'll come back to that too. But Chuck, the most important basketball player globally of all time, single-handedly, without a doubt, just told us that might have been it. It's worth the conversation, my dude. Let's run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, the mayor of Spartanburg, South Carolina, Mayor Jerome Rice, going to join us here on the show to talk about the news that broke yesterday, pro baseball, back in the Burg. We'll have that conversation next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
is welcome. So now everyone can be welcome to come downtown Spartanburg and enjoy a baseball game.
Mayor Jerome Rice of Spartanburg here on the radio broadcast, the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Mayor, if you don't mind, kind of give us a little bit of background into how this happened, because obviously this is not something that you just get a phone call one night and the next night you got a team. There's a lot of moving parts here. So if you could give us the nuts and bolts version of how this process played out, when did the conversation start, and how do we get to the point that this franchise is on the way?
Rob, I've been the mayor for a year and about 6 months now, a year and a half. And this conversation was already in the works before I became the mayor. So you can see the process that it had to go through. And one thing I didn't know was that everything goes through MLB, Major League Baseball. Even your minor league farm teams go through MLB. So all the negotiations initially was making sure we were a site that MLB would accept. And then from there, it went to the potential funders in this, the Johnson Group, Diamond Baseball. They're having a conversation, one Spartanburg, the county of Spartanburg, the city of Spartanburg, making sure that we could actually produce a stadium and other amenities that will bring the baseball team here. So, I mean, it's a lot of work that have gone into it to get to this point to make the announcement. But now the work really begins. So now it's time to roll up the sleeves and see how all the financing will get done, and all the nuts and bolts pieces that you speak of. Now we're really going to work. But right now we're still on Clyde 9, and we're riding this wave of just momentum and excitement about the new team coming downtown. And what a spot to be truly downtown Spartanburg.
All right. Obviously, this is incredible news. We're all very happy. Let's take a 30-second timeout to discuss the part that I am sure you have gotten the most questions about, and that is the funding. That is how the process for paying for a new facility, how taxes are playing into this. Can you kind of give us the overview for the folks who have asked how that is going to impact the finances of the city, and what you think the return on investment long-term for this team might be?
The long-term investment in the team, I mean, we can only project what we think it would do. And I'll go back to the Carolina Panthers, go back to BMW. When BMW first came, we never thought that we would see the investment or the return on the investment that we see now for BMW. Carolina Panthers, the same thing. So right now, I mean, the nuts and bolts, we'll be sitting down with the partners that are all involved. Again, Johnson Group, Johnson Development, Diamond Group, the county, the city, the state. Everyone plays a part in making sure that this comes to fruition, which we know it will. So to get to the nuts and bolts of the particulars of who's paying for what and how much is going in, we hadn't got there yet. We're not completely there yet, but we know that it's going to cost X number of dollars, and we're looking at how we can make this happen so that everyone will benefit. It's not going to be a tremendous tax raise to our citizens of the city. No, we already understand that can't happen. So it's just an opportunity for us to get some affordable, family-friendly entertainment downtown, along with some Class A office space downtown, along with some single-family homes downtown, new retail, new restaurants. That's going to boost the economy here and keep this momentum going and make Spartanburg that economic engine that it is today. And we want to continue, not throughout my lifetime, but my children and my grandchildren's lifetime.
Mayor Jerome Rice is the mayor of Spartanburg, South Carolina, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Mayor, when I moved here 3 years ago, I very frequently got told by people of Spartanburg that years ago, Spartanburg had the opportunity to be what Greenville is. And the number of times I've been over there, absolutely see Spartanburg having all this potential. But I think you've got to centralize, you've got to have entertainment, give people a reason to come, to want to be in the downtown, around the downtown, etc. And that's where this 16 acres of development, a ballpark, and the territory around it, I think, become every bit as important as the team itself. Can you talk to me a little bit about the plan for that district that's going to be built around this baseball stadium.
Yes, Rob. I mean, and you hit it right on the head. Just think about what is going on. You go 3 years ago. Think about the announcements you've heard in those 3 years. We have a new county building with the penny sales tax that's going up now. We have a new police station that's going up now. We have a joint city-county building that will be going up in less than a block away from this area, which will be wrapped around with retail apartments on that block. We're already reimagining, redeveloping Morgan Square. Mark Peters has a $80 million investment property going right downtown on Main Street. So everyone is playing a part in this, and our partners, again, the county and everyone else understands that Spartanburg and Morgan Square, that centerpiece is the living room of our county. And we want this to be a destination spot. So that 16 acres that you speak of right there behind the AC Hotel, will it house a ballpark? Yes, it will. But it will be a venue that will also house office space, Class A office space there. It will have restaurants there. This venue will not just be open just during baseball season. No, we look at this venue being open, this stadium being open year round. We will have activities there. There will be concerts. There will be things for the high school teams around here. I'm sure we will have some. I was just at a breakfast this morning with the United Way and talking with some upstate folks and some Spartanburg Methodist folks. What about our teams possibly playing down there? So, the wheels are already turning. They're really turning. So we plan to have this venue outfitted throughout the year, not just one season of the year, but throughout the year.
We are talking with the mayor of Spartanburg, South Carolina, Mayor Jerome Rice, here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. What conversations, if any, Mayor, have you had with Major League Baseball? I know teams, when they have an affiliate, they are very invested in the team because they want this team producing prospects and guys that can come up to the pipeline. But in order to do that, they've got to have a franchise, an affiliate that is being invested in, that is being propped up as well. So have you guys gotten any discussion with Major League Baseball as far as what they will bring to the table for the city?
I asked early on about being in the meetings with MLB and going to a few games. I honestly have to say I was not in the initial meetings with MLB, only when it came back home as to what we would do. But you're so right. MLB had to okay the site, the ownership, the partners involved. They are very stringent about who they let into their brand, because that will be the brand. Not only will we see ESPN live from Spartanburg, South Carolina, the Carolina Panthers, but now it would be live from Spartanburg, South Carolina, the Spartanburg such and such, an affiliate with the Texas Rangers. So they're putting their brand out there. They're entrusting us with their brand, in which we've shown them that we can handle that and we can do what needs to be done, put a quality program, put a quality team right here in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
This is an area, I know Greenville has really kind of paced itself as a tourism destination. We want people to come here and bring their money with them, spend the money. Fans travel to see baseball. We know that. And especially if you get prospects. Marcelo Meyer is a huge prospect for the Red Sox, playing for the Drive. There are people from Boston coming down to spend a weekend watching this kid play baseball. Spartanburg's got the ability, I think. You talked about the brand of the Rangers and the brand of Major League Baseball, but this is a real opportunity for Spartanburg to kind of increase its brand in the sports world a little bit as well. How important is that angle of all of this, the actual combined Spartanburg with high-level sports? How important is that to you and to the city?
Oh, again, you mentioned it you mentioned it in the opening statement about this being so much about people throwing political views out of the way, gender, ethnicity. We're all coming to root for this team. So that's what I'm so excited about. And again, when you look at ESPN, and I always tell my council members, again, I'm a big sports fan. I truly enjoy sports. I think it's the one that brings us all together. Whenever we're looking at it, and I keep bringing up the Carolina Panthers because I love it. I love it when ESPN, I get up at 6:00 a.m. to watch ESPN, and they're saying live from Spartanburg, South Carolina, watching the Panthers in their training camp. But now we have gone from a training facility to now where we will have an affiliate of the Texas Ranger playing live right here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I just think that's so tremendous. And again, the opportunity to make Spartanburg a destination. We just don't want you to come in and spend a day downtown. We want you to come in and spend a weekend. We want you to come in and spend your family reunion. Make Spartanburg your destination. And with a team like this, and with an amenity where you can come to a baseball game, where you can go over Duncan Park and possibly paddle on the boats out there on the lake, or you can come during spring fling. You can come during the crit downtown. You can come when we have so many things going on over at Burnett Park, or the Rhythm and Ribs, or the Hog Fest and the Burger Cook-Off. And I can continue to just name the events and the attractions that we have coming to Spartanburg. And this baseball team will add to it. And again, make Spartanburg not just a one-stop pop for you, but we want to make it a destination where you're coming to spend the weekend and enjoying yourself in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
I would love to point out, I got one more for you, Mayor, but before we get there, can I just point out how much in love I fall when I hear you listing events and 75% of them are centered around grilled meat? That's exactly the vacation destination I'm looking for.
Well, you can see what's near and dear to me too, eating.
Mayor, you and I might have us a lunch date over a barbecue pit real soon, young man.
There you go.
Mayor Jerome Rice of Spartanburg, South Carolina, here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, we've been told already that we're looking at a name, a logo, etc., all coming out in 2024. I know you're going to have a bunch of creative minds sitting in a room to come up with that. We know the target date for season number 1 is 2025. That's all well and good, Mayor. What do you want the name to be? Don't do this politician thing and tell me you don't have something. I know you do. What do you want it to be, Mayor Rice?
I want the people of Spartanburg to give the name. That's what I want.
I accept it. I don't love it because I know you got one, and I'm gonna get it out of you at some point.
No, I don't know what the process will truly be right now as the name of the team, but again, I truly hope and will be pushing for the people of Spartanburg to have the opportunity to have some input on that naming right.
Mayor Jerome Rice, he is the mayor of Spartanburg, South Carolina, announced yesterday a minor league baseball program affiliated with the Texas Rangers will open up play in 2025 in a brand new 3,500-seat facility in the middle of a 16-acre complex that'll feature multifamily housing, an office complex, an entertainment district, etc. Mayor, it is fantastic to have you on the show. So appreciative of your time, and we will do it again before we get first pitch going, my man.
There we go. That sounds good. And hopefully your mayor's throwing out the first pitch.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'm gonna tell you this before we get there, Mayor. I'm gonna get me a first pitch too. We may have to go to the tape. We might do a little side by side to see who brings the heat, man.
See who brings the heat. We'll have the gun out there getting the speed when it comes in.
I love it. Mayor, thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks a lot.
You as well. Mayor Jerome Rice is the mayor of Spartanburg, South Carolina, taking a few minutes here on the show, and he doesn't know he just got himself into a first pitch competition, does he, Lonzo?
You're pretty good.
He doesn't know what he just did.
I think the mayor's confidence is up there.
He's a long-term
though.
athlete, though.
Yeah.
He's a lifelong athlete. He knows what he's doing. But I was a pitcher, right? He's a football player. We're about to find out.
So you're trying to say that football players can't throw a baseball?
No,
is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying throwing heat is a specifically trained action. You got to practice throwing the heat. Then again, it is 2025. And now that he heard that, Y'all might see Mayor Rice be out there on that brand new diamond every day from now till opening day in 2025.
Coming out sleeveless, rocking the guns.
Oh, yeah.
And just, I mean,
He's a damn athlete. It's what he is. He's an athlete.
I enjoyed the interview, and he dropped some cool things, especially the living room. And I know Keegan's on there on the stream going. I'd already written it down. Yeah. It's a good line. Really.
Spartanburg is the living room of the county. What a line. We are underway in Hoover, Alabama, South Carolina. The 6-seed 9-0 shutout of the Georgia Bulldogs yesterday. Today, the difficulty level increased as they take on the 3-seed LSU Tigers. We are top 1 with the Gamecocks at the dish. 1 down, none on. We'll keep you abreast of this game all the way until the end of the show, but we have got to run to a break. When we come back, Lonzo, a full-length final segment in the hour. It's not unusual to me.
Well, that is unusual. That's weird.
It is.
Are you sure you can handle it? I mean, it's a full, I don't know. Uh-oh. He's cracking the knuckles. He's ready to go.
When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, you want to know how I know that the conferences that aren't the Big Ten and the SEC are desperate? The Pac-12 just showed us why. But I'm also going to tell you why it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
No. I got it. No, I just got to go to it. I got it. Well, yeah, I get it.
Dun, 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 dun. A good interview.
Also, Tim is back today, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Lonzo's taking a nap.
United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at usps.com/movingforward.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part? It was free? Nope. The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks? Nope. It's the ding. Oh yeah, love the ding. Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski. The dingarooner.
Dingarooski.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Turn your home.
Kenny Powers Unleashed. I got to tell you, I started Eastbound and Down. Courtney and I made it about 4 episodes in, and it was good, but we had just finished Righteous Gemstones, and I love that show so much. I think it turned me off to Eastbound and Down, which is too bad because I've heard Eastbound and Down is an amazing show. It just didn't grab me like I had hoped that it would.
No idea what that is. So it sounds somewhat familiar.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast. Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit
Get a glass of tea.
Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
From the Ingalls Market Studio.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live from the Freehouse. CBS Sports Radio. More than the score.
Gimmicks aren't bad inherently. There are bad gimmicks, but gimmicks aren't inherently bad. Gimmicks are done because gimmicks work. Lonzo and I, for anybody who listens to this show for more than 6 minutes, you're aware that we are fans of professional wrestling, the multi-billion-dollar machine that it is. Professional wrestling exists solely on gimmicks. Some are greatly exaggerated, some are not, some are ridiculous concepts, some are not. And Lonzo, how many times have we seen an average wrestler become a superstar because of a great gimmick? And how many times have we seen a great wrestler go irrelevant because of a bad gimmick?
Way too many times. Speaking of gimmicks, we broke news about a gimmick with Paul White right here on the show that was, picked up all over the country about his Captain Insano gimmick and which came to pass eventually. So, yeah, gimmicks are very important, but a good one can raise you, a bad one can doom you.
Gimmicks are not inherently bad. In fact, quite the opposite. A good gimmick can be the difference between making and breaking something.
And then there are guys or companies or whatever who can take a mediocre to bad gimmick and make it work because they're that good.
100%. It is not just the gimmick, it's how you execute the gimmick. Now that we've said gimmick enough time that the word sounds weird in your head, let me tell you why I'm talking about gimmicks. Gimmick. It's a weird word. Anyway, we're talking about gimmicks because of an announcement made by the Pac-12. Of the 3 conferences in the Power 5 that are not the SEC and the Big Ten, Lonzo, I make the argument that the Pac-12 is the closest to not existing anymore.
Yeah, they're losing teams right and left, and if they don't raise some people up, they won't be here that much longer.
USC and UCLA are already gone at this point. There are also rumors that Washington and Oregon could be following them to the Big Ten in the near future. There are also reports that Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah are expansion targets for the Big 12. And why wouldn't they be? The Pac-12 is hemorrhaging right now. The Big 12, as is the ACC, is struggling to hang on to what relevance they have right now. So the Pac-12 is desperate. And when people get desperate, they start making stuff up. When people get desperate for relevance, they start experimenting, which very frequently leads to gimmicks. Well, the Pac-12 is about to enter a gimmick phase. The Pac-12 announced that its broadcast on ESPN, Fox Sports, and the Pac-12 network starting this year will begin to feature, quote, enhanced access for viewers, end quote. Enhanced access includes live interviews with head coaches during games, mic'd up players and coaches during pregame warmups, potentially during games, cameras with pregame and halftime access to team locker rooms, handheld camera operators, which will be allowed to film parts of the field and game experiences where they have not been allowed to in the past. Effectively, they are going to stick cameras and microphones into parts of the football field and parts of the game that they have never been allowed into at the collegiate level, at least at the Power 5 level in the past. It is going to mimic, though not go quite as far, as the USFL and the XFL have both done. Now, the USFL and the XFL have respectable viewership. They're not breaking the bank. They're not blowing the socks off of anybody. They're not threatening the NFL yet. But I will tell you, Zoe, I have the last few weeks been finding a little more free time in the schedule to check in on the XFL and the USFL. Well, the USFL now. The XFL season's over. But I found some time to check in, mainly because they have done what I said they needed to do first off, which is instead of focusing on the football, they have focused on the football players. As I said to Lonzo out of the last break, we love drama. So give it to us. Drama in football is found in two places. It is found in high-pressure situations in a football game, and it is found within the stories of the players who play that game. The USFL and the XFL began to capitalize on that. They started doing segments with players. They started miking up players on the field. They started giving us the opportunity to see and to hear parts of a football game that we would otherwise never get the opportunity to see or hear. And now the Pac-12 is going to follow that method. I saw a write-up on Barrett Sports Media, which is a sports media page for people in the industry. And they provide access to other hosts and producers and whatnot to have communication. But they also provide some interesting thoughts and concepts that maybe don't make it into the mainstream media. One of them was written by a young guy by the name of Ian Castleberry, who said, quote, Pac-12 pushing enhanced access, Deion Sanders reeks of desperation, end quote. And my thought was, yeah, but also kind of no, right? Like, yeah, but kind of no. I get why he feels this way. It feels like the Pac-12 is trying to create a viewer experience that they've never had before, really that no college Power 5 conference has offered before. And the reason you do that is to try to grow viewership, right? If the Pac-12 wants to be able to create a world where they are willing, scratch that, where they are able to even pretend to be competitive with the dollar signs being floated to schools joining the SEC and the Big Ten, in which they're even able to pretend to be competitive with dollar signs being seen by ADs in the ACC and the Big 12, They've got to find a way to make their television product worth those dollars. They've got to get eyeballs to replace the eyeballs that they have just lost in the largest television market in America, Los Angeles, California. How do you do that? Well, here's one way. Lonzo, we've had a lot of conversations about what Deion Sanders is doing at the University of Colorado right now. We have conversations about his roster turnover, about the 9,000 players that have transferred out, about the direction that they're pointed with those transfers. We have questions about, is Deion a great recruiter, or is he just getting guys who want to be around Deion? Is Deion a great coach, or did he just get so much talent at the HBCU level that he was able to just throw 22 guys out there and out-athlete everybody he played? We're going to find out real quick, actually, at Colorado. But I'll tell you this as a viewer, and a viewer who is not ashamed to admit that I love some drama in my sports. Zoe, I would have paid money to have the camera following around Deion Sanders up close and personal for the last 3 months, and I'd pay more to have it follow him around for the next 9.
Oh, it definitely would be interesting for sure.
Absolutely. I would pay money for that. And that's the phrase the Pac-12 is leaning on. How do we get people to pay more money? And the answer is you've got to provide them something that nobody else is providing. I've been doing radio 15 years. You know what the number one rule I have been told about growing a radio brand is? You have to offer something in your 3 hours that nobody else does in their 3 hours. For some people, that means prank phone calls, which is a fine strategy. It's worked for years. For some people, that means hot takes. I'm going to say ridiculous things for the intent of getting you upset and reacting to me. For some people, that means inviting the lowest common denominator of fans to be the centerpiece of their show. For my show, because that's what everybody else is doing, the thing that I want to offer during my 3 hours of sports talk radio is a handful of laughs and reasonable sports talk radio, because I don't think there's that much of that going on anymore. The Pac-12 has to offer something that the Big 12's not offering, that the ACC's not offering, that the SEC's not offering, that the Big Ten's not offering. And the thing that they are trying to offer in exclusivity is the ability to kind of be part of the team, to hear what the coach says in pregame, to hear a halftime speech, to hear what players are talking about during pregame warmups, to hear what the game plan is, to see what it looks like when plays are signaled into the quarterback.
But can you smell the desperation? I mean, the average fan of the Pac-12, can you smell the desperation? And will that make you push it away even further? Because you know it's on its last leg and they're resorting to something like this.
I don't feel that way, but I understand that feeling, right? I don't feel that way. To me, I'm going, hey, we're in the entertainment business. Lonzo and I are always brainstorming things that we can do to make the show better. Lonzo and I have been working with engineering for weeks now to get to where we can add sound bites into the show. We always brainstorm. We came up with a new segment concept the other day that we're going to start working on here. Promo offs. We let you guys text the show one topic. Lonzo and I got to go 3 minutes without taking a break to just cut a promo on whatever that thing is for you guys to check. We're always looking for that. On one hand, it kind of feels like that's what the Pac-12 is doing. How do we create a television product that nobody else has? The problem they have is this. They've created an easily replicated product, right? If this works and the Pac-12 viewership skyrockets and they get that money, how quickly does the SEC do the same thing? Literally the next day, right? So yes, I understand why it feels like desperation, but it is somebody who is always looking for more and more creativity and more gimmicks in my sports broadcasting. They got me intrigued in Pac-12 football this year, and I got no other reason to be. Let's take a break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Upstate
The thought of Colorado going back to the Big 12 is hilarious. It is not only hilarious, but probable at this point. Very probable.
As wimpy as this may sound, it's hard to explain the pain of your headphones smacking you in the face when you take them off. No, it's not like running into a rake or a shovel when you're out there doing real work, but, you know. I know a place where you can get all those that you want, James. I was actually on with Charlie a little bit on the air talking about the new baseball team yesterday.
I think it's awesome. Genuinely,
I do. Charlie's pretty excited about it too.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto.
Presto.
Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
James, also, I'm sure you use sir the same way I do. So sarcastic, that it's just like, yeah. I know my boss really appreciates that.
In town serving it with beer and cocktails. That's right. Our 26 taps and full bar is open 7 days a week. Come get your Southern fix along with a cold drink with indoor and outdoor seating. Midtown is located in the heart of Greenville at 1418 Lawrence Road next to Trek Bicycle.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. When planning your summer vacation, pick a destination close to where you live to limit your use of fuel. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
There's an art to it. You got to do it in such a way where they find it kind of funny and you don't get in trouble, but you got to be on the edge of almost getting in trouble when you do it. Because if you're not, then it's not as fun. Yeah, right. You got to hit that tone just perfectly where the boss just kind of laughs it off. But if you take it one step too further, you might need to go to his office. So it just depends on, I mean, there is definitely a skill to it. And not everyone can do it. The worst thing is seeing somebody else get away with something and thinking you can too. That rarely works out for you.
To learn more. Now, CBS Sports Radio.
On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at thefanupstate.com. The Rob Brown Show, now 9 to noon.
talking with Mark Henry, the world's strongest athlete.
Back in the days with world's strongest man competition, what was your eating regimen like?
I was consuming around 10,000 calories a day. A dozen eggs, a pound of meat, pancakes, and eating 24 ounces to 50 ounces of steak in the evening.
Did you have to buy all the food yourself, or was that a sponsor type thing?
Yeah, I wish I had a sponsor. Hell, I want a sponsor now.
Great show, new time.
QC in the first break.
10-4.
On the fan, upstate. Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. The third, the final, the best of money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass, in charge of not only this program, but every program that you like. He has nothing to do with the ones you don't. That's how good he is. 844-326-3663. That's the number to jump on the GillstrapFamilyDealerships.com phone line. You can text us at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Bottom two, Gamecocks and the LSU Tiger Men out on the diamond, and as soon as I say that, LSU off the bat of Ryan Jobert, or Jobert, because he's from Louisiana. That's going to go dinger, and the LSU Tigers are going to hold a 2-0 lead over South Carolina. That pitch got rocketed into the stratosphere on a 2-strike, 2-out pitch. One swing of the bat. Instead of going top three, we stay bottom two, and the team in purple's got a 2-run lead over the Gamecocks.
So I think you said yesterday this is pool play.
Correct.
How do you feel about pool play? I do not like pool play.
Well,
so do you have to win your pool to get into the tournament itself to where it's actually
correct.
Okay.
So it's now the opening round yesterday. The teams that played yesterday, single elimination. If you lose yesterday, you're done.
Okay.
From this point forward, it is double elimination.
All right.
So if the Gamecocks lose today, the SEC tournament is not over for them, but they will be coming out of the losers bracket, and it'll be one more game.
Okay. All right.
So this is
but it's still early on in the game. They're only down by 2.
Early. We're in the second inning. Plenty of time. For a team that put up 9 on 12 hits yesterday, they're fine as long as they get through the next couple of innings without allowing LSU to do any more damage. But that was a rocket shot with a 2-strike, 2-out pitch. LSU up 2-0 on the Gamecocks. Jones trying to pitch his way out of this one. We'll keep you up to date on this game through the remainder of the hour. Want to thank Mayor Jerome Rice of Spartanburg, South Carolina, for coming on the show early. I love that news, by the way. I love that news.
It's good news, and I love the interview.
And I'm gonna say real quick that I think the opportunity for return on investment here is enormous for Spartanburg, right? And Spartanburg is doing something that I think, if it's not already, should be a model for other cities moving forward. They are taking the opportunity that they have with this baseball team. They're taking the opportunity to invest in the city, right? A lot of cities, and I've been at a few of them, a lot of cities get the opportunity to have a team and they invest in the team.
That's great, right? At the end of the day, investing in a team gives you the opportunity to bring tourists who come down to watch a little hardball. But a team should be an opportunity to invest in the city, in the region as a whole. And by putting together a group of both public and private investors to kick in a minimum of $250 million. And instead of building a ballpark, which that's great, right? So many ballparks that go up in cities like Spartanburg now should be multi-use facilities. I'll give you an example. I'm from Pensacola, Florida. A number of years ago, Pensacola, Florida got a low-A club, the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. They, at the time, were affiliated with the Cincinnati Reds out of the gate. Quinn Studer was the owner of that ball club. Quinn Studer built the stadium about a mile outside of downtown, but he built it on a beautiful piece of waterfront property. The stadium, over the right field wall, looks out over the Intracoastal Waterway and has a picturesque sunset. Over to left field, there is a canal that is full of million-dollar boats with condos on the far side. It's a beautiful backdrop for baseball. It's one of the nicest minor league stadiums I've ever been in, and it sits around 3,500, around the same size. But Quinn Studer said when they built it, he's like, this is not a baseball stadium. This is a stadium we're going to play baseball in. But it's a multi-use facility. Well, a couple of years later, the University of West Florida, my college football team, got a college football team. That's where I graduated. They got a D2 team. They needed a place to play. Quinn Studer went, this is why we built the stadium. For about 2.5, 3 years, UWF played its football out of that stadium, went on to win a D2 national championship there, as a matter of fact. And you know what happened to UWF? Their football program did so well that last year they were able to finally put a stadium on their campus. UWF benefited. Well, if UWF benefits, UWF grows. If UWF grows, it brings in more money, more students to Pensacola. Now, all of a sudden, this little bitty college, the University of West Florida, has a very, very respected tech program. And now you got kids graduating from UWF and electing to stay in Pensacola. These are the unforeseen long-term consequences, and it all came from a baseball stadium. Not only that, there are concerts held there. Now, they're very similar to Greenville in that there's an arena there. There's a hockey team that plays there. The Pensacola Ice Flyers used to work for them too. But they brought in the baseball stadium, and now they have the opportunity to run multiple concerts of varying sizes, right? Because you want acts that come through that, so maybe they're not going to fill up an 18,000+ seat arena, but they'll fill up a 3,500, 4,000 seat arena. And now you got justification for those mid-tier bands to come through, as well as all the fans that follow them.
So if you haven't listened to us for very long, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I did go to a bunch of minor league baseball games in Columbus because the Columbus Clippers were there, and they were an affiliate of the Yankees. I don't know if they still are or not, but they were, and they had a bunch of concerts there. So I would go to see concerts there and watch the baseball game first and get to experience the concert after. The last concert I went to was for a Christian band called For Him. As we're sitting there watching the game, a guy walks up beside me and he's smiling. He's like, "How you doing?" "I'm doing good." He's like, "How would you like to go down on the field?" I was like, "Can my whole family go with me?" "Yes." So I got to go down on the field right in front of the stage and see the concert. I've also been lucky enough to be here when what is now the Well was built. Got to go in there for, when it first started. Got to go to the Greenville Drive Stadium when it first got built. That's another cool thing about this. There's to be one of the first people in that stadium when that thing opens up in Spartanburg. It's going to be really, really cool.
For sure. And those types of things grow a community. It's like we talked to, if you missed the interview with Mayor Rice, that's up on the website, thefanupstate.com. It is the second segment of hour number 2. I will also pull it for you and have it as a standalone highlight that we'll send out later on in the day. But I told him, I've said it on the show before, I'll say it on the show again. Sports has a benefit that not many things do. Sports is a place, by and large, where when you go, everything gets checked at the door. Politics gets checked at the door. Religion gets checked at the door. Socioeconomic differences get checked at the door. Social inequality for by and large gets checked at the door. Now, there are going to be times and places within sports that demonstrations happen, sure.
And there's a little bit of jealousy of the people who are in the box. I mean,
sure.
you know, but
But it's one of those things that you look and you go, you rich buttholes. And then you go right back to 3-2 count, 2 down, bottom of the fourth, right? Sports gets checked by and large. Again, not everything and not anything, nothing exists in a bubble, but by and large, sports gets checked. It's not even like that really in music anymore, right? Not even, you can't even go to concerts hardly anymore.
No, because of cultural appropriate. There's all these little things where you can't go, I'm making this music for everybody. It's become a problem.
Listen, I don't blame artists for putting messages in music. Music's been that way since the invention of music. I know what I'm getting when I go to a country music show. I know what I'm getting when I go to a hip hop show. I know what I'm getting when I go to a rock and roll show. When I go to a country show, there are country musicians I will go see that I know I disagree with them politically, but I still like the music, so I'm there. Sports, for the most part, doesn't exist in a vacuum, but all that goes away.
And you don't talk about it. It just is.
Correct.
It always has just been that.
Correct.
You go in there to watch the game and you really don't care about any of that other stuff around you. Those guys, especially if you're rooting for a team and everyone around you is also rooting for that team. And even if there's some guys from the other side in there, you hopefully a little bit of nice ribbing going back and forth. Sometimes people go too far, but it's one of the only environments where you can say that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Even if, listen, I have been to theme nights, right? There's Pride Night over here, and there's Faith and Family Night over here, and there's this night and there's that night. But at the end of the day, when the puck hits the ice, when the ball gets first pitched, when kickoff happens, none of it, you're not thinking about that anymore, right? You're thinking about the game. You're involved in the game. So I think this is a wonderful investment in the city of Spartanburg. And you can already tell the excitement around the investment by the city. This is why I have been very much pushing for the areas around Greenville to build a stadium that the Greenville Triumph could play in, but it would serve the same purpose. It's a place where there's music. It's a place where there's festivals. It's a place where there's events. It's a place where you can do all these things, but it's centered around sport. I think Greenville's missing the bus on building an athletic stadium centered around soccer, but one that could hold events year-round. Again, I'm sure there are people in Spartanburg who don't want this, right? I'm sure there are. But here's the reality, and I've said this about Greenville, I'll say it about the Burg. If this isn't the kind of thing that you want, that area is not for you. Downtowns are going to continue to thrive. Go downtown, 7 o'clock on a Saturday when the Drive are playing, and watch how many happy, smiling people are out and about and spending their money centered around baseball. Go downtown when the Bits play and watch how many people stream out of the Rabbits game on a Saturday night and then head downtown to Main Street to spend their money after enjoying sports. These things pay you back. They pay you back. And then again, I mentioned UWF and the fact that the University of West Florida was able to grow a football team because of the fact that there was a stadium for them to play in built by minor league baseball. UWF began to thrive. They got their own football program. Now the university benefited. The university is pumping out well-educated Argonaut alum, and those alum are electing to stay in Pensacola. And now the city of Pensacola has a resource of a young, educated, driven, motivated workforce of young people looking to cut their teeth, and they want to stay in Pensacola to do it. Again, based around a baseball stadium. These things pay you back. They just do. I think it's a great move by the Burg. And I am telling you right now, whether it's Greenville or one of the small municipalities around it, I say that with love and respect. Somebody is going to get into a deal and they're going to build a soccer-centric sports stadium in their town. And the Triumph are going to play there. And the Liberty are going to pay there. But that's not all. They're going to end up with high school championships being played there and all that comes with them. They're going to end up with those mid-sized concerts that tore through and all the money that comes with them. They're going to end up with businesses who recognize, hey, if I put my office here, I get free signage in front of tens of thousands of people every year just by existing. I don't have to pay for it. They're going to benefit from it. Whether it's Malden or it's Greer or it's Taylor's or wherever else it might be, somebody's going to benefit from that and all the unintended, unforeseen benefits that come along with it are going to be centered around it. Spartanburg sees that. Spartanburg invested in that. Lonzo, this story is 23 and a half hours old. This story broke as we were going off the air yesterday. We've gotten Facebook comments. We have gotten emails. We have gotten text on the text line. And it was all over Mark's show. It's all over this show. It's all over the website. It's all over the Facebook. And I would say so far that about 95% of the comments have been positive. About 3% of them have been, okay, but I have questions. And about 2% have been negative. People get excited by this stuff.
It's being talked about everywhere, including on WRD. I know it was talked about yesterday evening on Charlie's show. I'm pretty sure I heard Tara talking about it this morning over there. So, and not just here, everywhere around the upstate, they're talking about this. So it's a pretty big deal. It really is.
It's a huge deal. It is a huge deal. I'm excited for Spartanburg. I cannot wait to get it. Here, I'll give you the perfect example. The perfect example is me. I'm the demo here, right? I really like Sparkle City. But
wow. It's all about you, Rob.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I really like downtown Spartanburg. But downtown Spartanburg is about 50 to 55 minutes of a drive from the Casa de Love, which means that Spartanburg isn't really a place that it's like Tuesday and I'm like, hey, let's go get dinner and we drive to Spartanburg. Spartanburg's something like, okay, there's a thing. There's a remote happening there. Some of my friends from out of town happen to be there. Let's go over there. And we spend a day. Do you know how much easier it's going to be for me to say to the lady friend, hey, Spartanburg is playing the Columbia Fireflies coming up on Saturday. What do you say we go over to the Burg, we hit the freight yard for a couple of brewskis, we go to the game, we enjoy the game, we grab dinner downtown afterwards, and we head back. Y'all, if Rob and the lady friend come over for a baseball game, I'm dumping $400 into Spartanburg right out the gate. $400 for a baseball weekend. We will do $100 at the bar before the game, tickets to the game, $100 in food and drink at the game, another $100 for dinner after the game's over because we get that big time fat radio contract. And how many times am I going to do that a year if there's a baseball team there? I work for the drive 2 games a month. I'm at 8 because it's there. Now I got another. Hell yeah, let's go. And then, like I mentioned, Marcelo Meyer is the Red Sox #1 prospect. He plays right here in Greenville, South Carolina. Every time I go to a game, there are 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 dudes wrapped around the tunnel where the players come out looking for a picture or an autograph from Marcelo Meyer. I have conversations with him. Every game, Lonzo, I have a conversation with somebody who's from Boston who came down to watch Marcelo Meyer play because he's going to be at Fenway Park one day. And I want to see what the Rook can do before he gets up to the Sox. There's people coming down from Boston, from Fenway Park. They get in their car. They go to the airport. They get on a plane. They fly down. They come watch the drive play to see Marcelo Meyer. They're spending hundreds of dollars to do it. What happens when the Rangers send down one of their top prospects to play in the Burg. Now all of a sudden, there's Rangers fans because baseball fans are weird and obsessed. Now there's Rangers fans coming to watch. This is a phenomenal investment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. When we come back here in just mere moments from now, a long time aspect of the National Football League is under fire. It is something that could change the game as you know it, and I am not being dramatic for the tease. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You are listening to The Fan Upstate.
QC.
Live read here, guys. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with hosts Quentin Mayo, Trista Crick, and Ryan Horvath. Real-time, relevant sports entertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM tonight, exclusively on Fan and on the Odyssey app. Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you. Be a part of the radio broadcast. 844-326-3663. That is the number to jump on the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line, 844-326-3663. You can also shoot us a text at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the radio broadcast. So let's talk the National Football League for just a second. It was reported yesterday that the NFL has accepted another rules change. Albert Breer put forward the memo of the rule proposal, Rule 16A for 2023. Now, this is an experimental rule. It is for 1 year only, the 2023 season. It reads.
You mean like that rule where they were going to review pass interference? You mean like that rule?
Correct.
That just experimented for 1 year, and then they found out they didn't need it.
Why are you the way that you are, Alonzo?
If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, you can see color come into Rob's cheeks. It's like instant. It's like blush.
Anyway, Article 4, Rule 10, Section 2 reads as such, and I quote, after a fair catch is made or is awarded as the result of fair catch interference, the receiving team has the option of putting the ball in play, either A, fair catch kick, drop kick or place kick without a tee from the spot of the catch, or the succeeding spot after enforcement of any applicable penalties, or snap from the spot of the catch. The effect of the new rule is that for 1 year only, this new rule puts the ball in play at the receiving team's 25-yard line if there is a fair catch on a free kick, a kickoff, or a safety kick behind the receiving team's 25-yard line. So, if the ball crosses in the air over the 25-yard line, anywhere from there to the out-of-bounds mark, and a fair catch is called for, the ball will now be placed at the 25-yard line. They're moving the spot out to the 25. And people are not thrilled about this. People believe this is the beginning of the end of kickoffs in the National Football League. The breakdown.
That's extreme. It's extreme to think this is the beginning of the end, because as long as you still have a kick returner on your team, they're going to try to run the ball back because that's their job, even if they're not going to make it to the 25, unless coaches are saying, hey, if it's at this point, do not run. But they're not going to do that, are they? Are they going to tell them to not run?
Yes.
See, I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think so.
I will tell my guy if it is now inside of the 5-yard line, I do not want you to run it out.
See, that's not me. I'm telling my guy, if you think you got it, go for it. Because it's
Lonzo, what kick returner don't think I got this?
Right.
Every kick returner ever thinks I got this.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I'd rather
don't got this.
I would rather gamble on a chance of him breaking a long run than just automatically giving up and taking the 25.
Most kick returns do not cross the 25. The overwhelming majority of kick returns end up somewhere between the 20 and the 23-yard line on average. This rule brings a fair catch result out to the 25.
All right, think of some of the best kick returners in the history of football. Would you tell them, no, you stay back? Well, we want that 25. No, you're not going to tell them that. You're going to tell them to do it.
No, you're not. Because unless you have Devin Hester.
Exactly. So you're telling Hester, dude, I know you might break one, but we'd rather just have the 25. So, if it's right, I know you think you got it. I know you're like the best returner in the history of football, but you know what? We'd rather just have the 25. So just field the ball. We have you back there fielding the ball. And then eventually you don't need kick returners anymore if more coaches think the way Rob does, because you just need a guy who can catch the ball. So you're just back there catching the ball. And I know that's what you believe and some people believe that the NFL is trying to do so they can eliminate kick returns, and I don't believe they're going to do it.
Who's the best kick returner in the National Football League today? Exactly. There ain't many Devin Hesters. Now, if I have a Devin Hester, sure. If I have Devin Hester back there.
One of my favorite memories on my anniversary, Lisa and I went to see the Panthers play. And yes, she wanted to go on anniversary because she's awesome. And it was one of the worst seats that we've ever had, but there are no bad seats there. So we were up in the rafters, and Steve Smith catches the ball, and you could see the lanes open up, and you could see him run it back for a touchdown. I will always remember that. So in today's rules, they would tell Steve Smith, no. Just go ahead. Just fair catch that. We don't want to give you a shot. The thrill of watching someone return 99 yards, 50 yards, whatever it is, that's taken away a thrill from football fans and from the players themselves. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think a coach is going to tell you, hey, do not run that out.
So let me start by saying I don't really have a strong pull one direction or the other. Because on one hand, I agree. An excellent kick return is a momentum shift in the game. As a fan, it's wildly exciting, especially when it's your team.
Only you and a couple people will get this. That brought me to my feet.
Sure.
That, for me, does not happen. I sit there and I watch student of the game or whatever I'm watching, wrestling, whatever. I'm there to enjoy the experience without jumping up and doing all that. That brought me to my feet.
A great kickoff return is absolutely thrilling. I wholeheartedly agree with you. On the flip side, kickoffs and kickoff returns are the most dangerous and violent play in football.
Last I checked, every play in the NFL is dangerous and violent.
I didn't say it's the only. I said it is the most dangerous play in football. It is the only play where guys are getting 20, 25-yard head starts to build up a head of steam and slam directly into each other. It's the only one.
I normally would agree with one of the best commissioners of all time in football, Roger Goodell. I normally would agree with
parking lot 1205.
Yeah, you've already told me how you've never thrown a punch, so I think I'm good.
I didn't say I've never thrown a punch. I said I've never been in a fight.
Okay, all right. There's gonna be two sounds: me hitting you and you hitting the floor.
The ground, chump. Gonna be two hits: me hitting you, you hitting the ground.
I disagree with this rule. I don't think it's gone after a year. It is because it's dumb. It's just a dumb rule.
Texter said, if you're afraid of being hurt, don't play football.
Yeah, exactly.
Little toxic masculinity coming through.
No, it's not. I mean,
do you understand?
By nature, football is violent.
Correct.
And what happens in violence? People or things get hurt.
There is a massive difference between football is violent and two 260-pound people running full speed at each other and going head into head. There's a difference. If I bring down a pass and I turn upfield and a cornerback hits me while I'm turning and my ankle gets wrapped up, that is part of the game. That's part of the sport. That's part of any sport. That's how it goes.
So you're saying that you like this rule?
I'm saying I understand the rule.
Yeah, but do you like it?
I don't know is the answer. Because on one hand, yes, I like situations where players' heads and brains aren't being turned into mashed potatoes long term.
Yeah, I get all that.
Learn this, the more we recognize that kickoffs are the most violent aspect of this happening. The second thing is any given NFL weekend, how many kick returns are a difference-making play in a game versus spotting the ball at the 25 for the next possession?
If I recall, there were a couple in the playoffs last year that made a major difference when it was a back and forth between teams.
And keep in mind, the option to return the kick is still very much on the table. All they've done here is increase the reward for calling a fair catch. They didn't take it off the table. They just said, hey, look, if you fair catch it, you now get the 25 instead of the 20. That is 5 free yards. That is 5 more yards between you and pay dirt.
So how long does it take before a coach benches his return guy because he keeps bringing it out?
if he's not getting to the 25-yard line consistently, why would you not do that?
Worth the risk.
That's
worth the chance that he can break one.
That's the point of the world. And that might be true. You may have a coach who goes, fellas, I don't want y'all ever fair. I want you fair catching if it's in the end zone. If it's out of the end zone, run it back every time. But here's the thing. Data, numbers, analytics, they matter. Numbers are numbers. The one thing you cannot argue with is math, right?
Well, I can argue with math. It doesn't mean I'll win.
The only argument you can't win is math.
All right, that's a different way of phrasing it.
And if you as a football team on kicks being returned from outside of the end zone are averaging the 21-yard line, the 22-yard line, and on kickoff returns are given the 25-yard line, one of those numbers is better than the other. One of those, even if you pop one, over the course of the year, the average is going to be brought back out to the 21, 22, maybe 23-yard line. The 25 is a better spot. They are not telling you don't return kicks. They are not telling you bench your kick returner. They are not telling you don't work on kick returns. They're simply saying, hey, look, we're going to increase the reward for a fair catch by 5 yards. So gamble on it. There's your risk. Because if the spot's the 20 and the average kick return comes out to the 22, you're returning it more often than you're not. But if the kick return spot is the 25 and the average is the 22, now you're calling fair catches unless you look up the field and you just go, there's nobody on the right.
So as a Saints fan, do you want the Saints to take the 25 every single time?
I mean, right now, we don't have a kick returner I consider deadly, so yes. Now, if we get a Devin Hester, then yeah, try it. If we get a Devin Hester, try it.
I don't think you can convince me otherwise. I want my guy running it out. That's his job. If he thinks he's got it, there's a chance he does. I want him running it out.
Who's returning kicks for you guys right now? Mecole Hardman?
It doesn't matter. Because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. So you get us on the 20, you get us on the 5, you get us on the 2. Doesn't matter. But it's going to be easier on him if you break one and he doesn't have to go out there.
I mean, again, at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong here. If Andy Reid decides he wants to return every kick that's not through the end zone, have at it. Risk reward. Here's
my problem, and I understand the outcry, and most of the outcry are people on my side, not on your side. This is we're putting a rule forth knowing that no one's really going to do it.
I disagree.
Because I don't think people are going to take advantage and get to 25. I don't think that. I think if the guy's got a shot, he's going to go for it. That's the mentality of a kick returner. And if he doesn't have that mentality, you don't want that guy back there. You want that guy back there who has the confidence that he thinks he can break one every single time he touches the ball. If you put that doubt in his mind, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't. I'll just take the 25, which is what the NFL is counting on. That's not going to happen. That guy with doubt, he's not going to stay back there. You want that crazy guy who thinks every single time he's going to break it.
Again, if the coach goes, hey, if it's inside the 10, don't run it back, and then he pops one and it doesn't work, that'll be his last kick return.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Because the next guy you put back there is going to have the same mentality.
If you told one of your producers on the other channel, you're out for break at 20 past the hour, and every day he was out at 25 past the hour, and he goes, hey, it was a good segment. I know what I'm doing here.
All right, that's a bad example.
Why?
Because
you're the head coach.
No. Because certain hosts get carte blanche, and even though they're supposed to be out, it's on them. So that's a bad example.
If you tell your producer, you are out at 20 no matter what. I don't care what the host says. You are out at 20. And he's out at 10:23.
I can't do that because
you know it's a metaphor that traps you.
No, it has nothing to do with the metaphor. This is just a poor example of something that you know as well as I do. Certain people get better treatment than others, and they can get away with more. And I can't make a producer do something. It's up to the host. I'm just saying it was a bad analogy.
Well, then what's the point of your job? You're just a glorified calendar
maker? You know, Rob, you've seen me question that the last couple of days. I love it here, though, by the way. Love my job.
Okay. What do you guys think? Is this the NFL taking a step towards getting rid of the kickoff? I'll tell you where I think it ends up. I think it ends up.
You got a percentage of what you think?
No. I think it ends up getting to a spot where the NFL goes to the USFL, XFL style kickoff, right? You guys are going to line up on the 35. You guys are going to, or on the 40 or whatever it is. You guys are going to line up on this 40. Neither line can move until the kick returner catches the ball. Once the kick returner catches the ball, then you can engage. Because all they're doing in that spot is taking out the long run towards each other that leads into the most violent contact in a football game. In the NFL, because money runs everything, the NFL at the end of the day is trying to limit liability for long-term brain injuries and CTE payouts. That's what this is about. So just a heads up, you're going to be getting that style of kickoffs in the near future.
Here's what I'm sure we will revisit this at the end of the football season and can compare how many times the ball was run back and how many times they took the 25 compared to the year before with the 20. I mean, so once we have some data, we can see who's right and who's wrong.
Ain't wrong. Numbers. Can't argue with math. Can argue with math. Can't beat math in an argument. How's that? Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll do a real quick look at last night's Boston game. Celtics found a little bit of fight. They get the Heat up 3-1 going back to Beantown. And tonight's Carolina Panthers game, the Canes find themselves on the brink of elimination. That's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show. What'd I say, Carolina Panthers? Technically, I'm right. It is Carolina versus the Panthers. I am technically right, which is the best kind of right. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I don't want to jinx it, but why can't you hold on to a pen like you do a baseball?
Because I'm an athlete, baby.
He is an athlete.
Spencer Strider struck out 11, increasing his major league leading strikeout total to 97. It was his fourth start this season with double-digit strikeouts. In 10th of his career, he gave up 4 runs, 2 of them earned over 6 innings.
If I can't argue with math, I'll just make up my own math.
Yeah, Common Core, baby.
That's fair.
San Diego's Yu Darvish gave up back-to-back homers to C.J. Abrams and Lane Thomas in the 5th. In 10 innings, the Yankees beat the Orioles 6-5. Aaron Judge hit a tying home run of the 9th. Anthony Volpe drove in the winning run with a sac fly.
Volpe.
Talented sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Not trying to be mushy or anything, but thanks to all the other guys and girls who tune in every day and consistently are here. We do.
I'll be mushy. We
really appreciate it.
That is correct.
Because not everybody gets that. When he shows up. Well, that doesn't look right. There we go. We're almost there.
And it opened my eyes.
Dazzling decal on Daisy's Donuts window. Bold banner at Barry's Barbershop.
There you go, Barry.
Poster at Penny's on Park Place.
This is your sign. Well, signs. Try Staples and see the difference. Get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more.
From Staples, and I couldn't miss it.
N617. Visit staplesconnect.com/print for details.
If you're 19 or older with certain underlying medical conditions such as asthma or diabetes, you can get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're 65 or older, it is also recommended you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. No matter.
So, quick question: are you ever too old for a boogie board?
What a question.
Just curious.
I'm gonna go no.
If you're sitting on your balcony out at the beach and you go, no, old man, no, you should not be doing that.
Is this a thing that recently happened to you?
No, but it could in the near future. I get it if you go, no, fat dude, that is not gonna work. But I mean,
if a dude is fat, does it matter if he's on a boogie board or not?
I think it helps a little bit. But when the boogie board suddenly appears, it's like he threw it up. I mean, it's like he puked it, and it just there it is. It's just like, where did that come from? From within the folds of himself, there was a boogie board. I want to be that dude who runs on the beach and jumps on it and glides across. I know I'm not. Yeah, I know I'm not that dude, but the boogie board on the waves is pretty cool. I haven't done that in a while, but I just, I understand the weight limit. There really isn't one, but the age limit. I mean, or do I want to do something like that just so the old men, so the people go, no, don't do that, old man, and then I, jam on the waves. All right. Tim is asking me when the MSS air on the fan. What the heck is MSS?
What?
Well, that's why I was asking you. If you don't know what it is.
What?
MSS. It's you're Mr. Nickname, so I thought you would know. I don't even know what that is, man. So my answer would be 2 p.m.
Final segment already of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Let's take 20 seconds here to talk about what happened last night. Lonzo, all that happened last night is the Boston Celtics finally played the way the Boston Celtics should have been playing this whole series. They had their backs against the wall. Ain't nothing more dangerous than a cornered animal. Never has been, never will be. That being said, at some point, you're going to run out of gas. At some point, the animal with its back against the wall is going to scrap and fight for its life, and it's just going to run out of gas, and the predator wins. That's how it works. The Boston Celtics found what the Boston Celtics were supposed to be last night. Unfortunately, it's too little too late. Even a bad NBA team can win 1 out of 4 games. The worst NBA teams win 1 out of 4 games. Miami's just got to win 1 more. Oh, and BT Dubs, they still get to come back to Miami for 1. Now, 2 of the final 3 are at Beantown, but Miami gets to go to Boston, come back to Miami, and then go to Boston again. They got 3 shots to get this thing done. Tatum, Brown, and Smart showed you last night what they should be, what they could be. Heck, even Mazzulla looked like he knew what the hell he was doing last night. By the way, do you know Joe Mazzulla is 34 years old?
Yeah, what? The first thing I thought this morning when I saw the score was, who's getting the credit, Tatum or the coach? Because the coach,
Jason Tatum.
So the coach was sure getting all the blame.
Oh yeah. By the way, I didn't know this. Joe Mazzulla's last year as a college basketball player, his team got bounced by Marquette, led by Jimmy Butler.
about that? Little connection there. Anyway, I think that Boston finally hit the stride that they could have been in. The problem is you did it too late. The worst NBA teams are going to want to win 1 out of 4. Last night was a snapshot, not the big picture. It was a snapshot. This is what Boston could be. But what Boston is a team that's got bigger problems right now. The best thing in the world is that they're going back to Boston for the next one. Here's the problem. Lonzo, what happened the last 2 games Miami went to Boston?
They won.
Correct.
I'm trying to figure out what you actually might be saying in sign language. when you're doing the box and then the
no, we'll see. We'll get the complaint email later.
The whole thing is I can't believe he just said that. You ever think about that? Some gesture you make might actually be.
I don't think about most things I do.
Okay, well maybe you'll think about it now.
Miami in 5.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending and he will tell us why. The first thing that's trending is Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers took a vet day yesterday because he done tweaked his leg in OTAs. Speaking of OTAs, we got to talk a lot of Panthers OTAs tomorrow. We haven't even gotten to them yet. I mean, we did very briefly yesterday. A-Rod tweaked the leg and ended up taking a vet day yesterday. Everybody in New York panicked, and it was hilarious.
How many vet days do they get, I wonder? Is it like a personal day for us?
Yes.
Is that sort of thing? Okay.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, a lot of vets on vet days just
rookies,
don't show up. He was there.
How long do you have to be there before you're eligible for a vet day, I wonder?
You know the guys who get vet days.
Yeah, no, I do. But I mean, at what point do you cross over that threshold? Now I can take vet days.
When you're good.
Okay. All right. So it's not about length of time in the place. It's about whether you're good or not.
That is correct.
All right. The next thing is trending is hashtag Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Is today, so it drops today or dropped last night.
I think it was yesterday. Since I don't watch it.
Well, it comes out like midnights, Tuesday night going into Wednesday.
Ah, okay.
This is the final season, allegedly, of Ted Lasso. There are 12 episodes. I think it was 11 that dropped tonight. So we got the series finale coming up next week. I'm just going to tell you, I don't care if you're not a soccer person. Watch Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is the best good feels television show I've seen in a very long time. Like, of the good feels shows, it might be at the top. It's got sitcom caliber humor. It's got multiple very well written, very deep characters. It's got incredible storylines start to finish. It's hilarious. And then every now and then, right when it hits its groove of comedy, it punches you right in the feels. It is, even if you don't like soccer, the show's not about soccer. It focuses on a soccer team. Even if you don't like soccer, find somebody with an Apple TV subscription, ask them to borrow it, and watch Ted Lasso. It's incredible television.
All right. Steven on the stream says, are puffy appendix days considered vet days? Yes, they are. They absolutely are. Because there's only a couple people more vet in this building than me.
For the record, there's only one person I know that has ever said the phrase, I have a puffy appendix.
Well, the surgeon said it first. So, all right. The next thing that's trending is The Flash.
The Batman movie? I'm excited about this.
The latest trailer has dropped, and you absolutely need to watch it. And then you will not say the Batman movie afterwards.
Oh, because they've hit the point where they're like, everybody's calling it a Batman movie.
Although,
we should probably release promos with the Flash in it.
I am a little concerned that maybe there is too much in this, but it's a pretty good trailer. And finally, Game Pass is trending.
What's on Game Pass?
Well,
what's leaving Game Pass?
It's out saying which service is the best, and Game Pass makes like $15 million more than any other service or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, isn't the PlayStation Network free?
No, they did one along the lines of Game Pass.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's got tiers to it and things like that.
How good's the Zelda game? You played it yet? I know you're a big fan.
No.
I've heard it's incredible, by the way.
Yeah, just not in the kids' games.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending it with us. Hope you enjoyed the show half as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll be back tomorrow. My last day of the week is tomorrow, so we're going to go ham at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Make sure you're here for it. Don't jerk your drive. I'll punch you with the face. That's Alonzo. I'm Rob. Have a lovely rest of your day. We're back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
I was wondering when it'd be on there, Steven, but it's no longer HBO Max. It's just Max.
HBO Max Go?
It's just Max.
Oh, it's just Max? We don't even say HBO anymore?
No, they changed it to just Max. Yeah. I'll stop if you stop, Steven. You know what I'm talking about.
Do. All right, guys, you're all amazing people. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it sincerely. Tomorrow is my last day this week. I will be out on Friday. We are all off on Monday. So make sure you're here because it's going to get interesting. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.